World of Warcraft is currently, arguably, in a worse position than it was during Shadowlands. And I am not over exaggerating, so let me explain. There are a couple of ways that we can estimate player numbers in the game, because Blizzard for a long time have not given us real player numbers, and when they have been going up, because that's when only companies reveal numbers when they are good. Whenever numbers are in general going down or not the way that they want, they're never gonna release them. But we have some other ways to roughly estimate player activity in the form of keys, clears, raid logging, and all of those things. Now, these are not perfect estimations, and there is a little bit of variety, but in general, there are some rules that these numbers will always abide by. And one of the biggest currently red flags that World of Warcraft has is the fact that when the War Within came out, the savior of World of Warcraft, the three-part series that is going to be done by Chris Metzen or whatever his name is, A Return to Form and Glory. When this expansion came out, when the first raid happened, it had less participation, less mythical clears, less keys, less everything, even though it was more accessible than the previous one. And it had less numbers of clears, less numbers of participations than the previous expansions last year. That is astonishingly bad numbers. When an expansion ends, when a current patch is gone for too long and everything is stale, people are going to leave the game. That should be your lowest player point at any given situation. When it's stale, when it's boring, when everyone has played as much as they want, and it's the last ending stages of an expansion and no one wants to try and start to play and all that. You know, normal, self-understandable stuff. But your highest point, obviously, should be the opposite. The launch of an expansion. And, well, we saw that. The War Within launched, and people just did not give a shit. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I have been saying for a while. World of Warcraft is at a very dangerous point because it's just the death of apathy towards the game. People don't even care to complain about World of Warcraft retail any longer because people just don't give a shit any longer. That's how bad this is. People talking bad about your game means that there is interest at the bare minimum. But when people don't even care to honestly talk bad about your game, it's kind of over. And in general, World of Warcraft is such a giant thing still theoretically. There is so much value to be had. I mean, for example, look at the YouTube sphere for World of Warcraft. There's no one who makes good videos. Everything is a fucking VOD at this point. Or some kind of TikTok compilation of like, yeah, look at this, I one-shotted the guy. Currently, the most popular creator-made video about World of Warcraft in the past like year or two is a guy who makes RunEscape videos. That's how bad it is in World of Warcraft currently, okay? The most popular video by a landslide is about World of Warcraft is a guy who makes RunEscape videos. The death of apathy is truly, truly a sad thing. And why is this happening? Well, to be honest, World of Warcraft is not even that on the nose of oak, for example. I know what the story of the War Within is, and it's shit. It's literal absolute trash. Most of the time, the story pretty much goes like this. Go to random place, encounter random battle, kill Nerubians. The other guys are like, oh my god, I suddenly love you, let me have your babies. They take you, instantaneously take you in. You're losing all this time because there's too much enemies, there's this, there's that. None of that shit is explained properly, and the enemy has the advantage all the time. Then you suddenly win against the opponent who has the advantage all the time. I'm serious. The last cinematic, where what's her face shoots wife Beyblade, you know? let's ignore the fact that Beyblade could snap her fingers and the bow just explodes or teleports and all that shit. But no, she just gets shot because of reasons. It is the dumbest crap ever. And no one likes the story. The story is as lame as you could possibly ever make it. There's just so much wrong with this. And it shows. It shows. The last time Blizzard themselves said World of Warcraft was doing good was when Classic released and they got the combined numbers of Season of Discovery being released, the new hot thing, and the new expansion that followed a little bit after that. And until that point, it was just going lower and lower and lower, and only Classic World of Warcraft, the original release, had like a bump that actually mattered. No one cares about retail anymore. There is nothing to care about. And the numbers are going low, which means Blizzard has to implement more long boys for $100 to sell. The same way that they have to implement shitty fucking red mount dice for $100 in Diablo 4 to sell. And this is gonna just get worse and worse and worse. Because everything that Blizzard is doing currently is not working. When the end of a previous expansion is higher in player activity than the beginning of a new expansion, you fucked up so hard. People just don't care about the story. It is like, who cares? It's so generic. And it's honestly also so woke. Like, Anduin now is this crybaby who gets taught by literally double crippled, half black, elf hybrid paladin woman without a hand and eye, which is just so cringe. And all of the other things that are happening, it's just so stupid. No one likes it, obviously. It is woke, but it's, you know, that it's nothing is super on the nose woke even when we're talking about this, but most shit is woke. For example, the evil dwarf who actually is a part of the old god faction or whatever. He's like, he's like comically stupid, and you just appear to stop him at the right time for no reason. Again, all of the expansion's lore is you're just randomly at the right time to do something important for no reason. That's it. There's nothing else to the expansion. And all of the good heroes are effectively women, and you just kind of work constantly to install effectively to overthrow bad men and replace them with smart and capable women, which is also stupid. Oh god.
It's time to talk about World of Warcraft in 2025, and it's going to be quite a year. Player housing is going to be in the game sooner than you think. 25 is going to be pretty damn stacked. This time last year, we were already done with
player housing, and that ironically sounds like the worst thing ever, because, you know, how is player housing gonna work? Because player housing means that you need to have all your easy accessibility things in it, which means it's just gonna be another Warlords of Draenor encampment or garrison or whatever the fuck that was called, and people hated that.
with the Dragonflight expansion. War Within was of course barely on the horizon. What Blizzard tried to do was save the first half of the year, and they kind of did that, right? They had Purge Storm, there was Mop Remix, they pulled those out of the back pocket, and Dragonflight Season 4 happened, and I think we all just kind of forgot that existed. This year though, it is radically different.
Yeah, and also, it didn't even mention this. After Shadowlands Battle for Azeroth, Dragonflight was not bad, but people just don't care. It's you have been burned for literally 5 expansions in a row. People don't give a shit that Dragonflight was actually okay. People don't actually care if War Within is okay. They're not coming back because they have been burned too many times. And at this point, you need probably like 10 expansions in a row to succeed for people to be like, oh, maybe I should play World of Warcraft. I'm hearing good things about it.
Planned better. We know almost everything that we're going to be getting. We know the release cadence of 8-week patches that the team has announced, and if they can keep up that pace, well, we pretty much know when everything is going to happen from right now until the release of the Midnight expansion. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's kick it off with January 14th. It all kicks off on the 14th of January with Plunder Storm, which is WoW's Battle Royale mode that honestly got me completely addicted last time. I know it was a little bit controversial, but seriously, if you give it a chance, I think you'll find it really does have quite a lot to it. What's great is that this time around, the renown track is going to be gone. The reward system that people hated won't be a thing. There are more rewards, you can get them more granularly, and they're adding a practice mode.
You know what's crazy about this announcement? The Plunder Storm reward track is the same thing as they do with the story and progression system in the main game. And they're removing it for Plunder Storm because people fucking hate it. But do they honestly think that people don't hate it in the retail? The fact that they're literally being forcefully time-gated with something in their face that says, yeah, you can't access this. You have to wait like a week and do nothing.
To ease people in, instead of, throwing the World of Warcraft audience, who generally are not all PvPers, into a PvP Battle Royale with zero preparation, which, second thoughts, maybe wasn't the best idea. This incarnation of Plunder Storm is going to last till February 18th. Then after that, we're going to have patch 11.1, but not necessarily after, because if Blizzard are following their 8-week cadence, which they rather shockingly have followed, patch 11.1 will launch February the 11th, which I suppose is cute in terms of dates. In terms of how that patch is shaping up, there's quite a lot. Number one, there's Drive. Drive is basically dragon riding, but for the ground. It's even faster, yes, even faster than max speed dragon riding. It's complete with insane drifting potential and even car customization, not just the appearance, but also the actual handling and performance. Then we've got the long-awaited Marksmanship Hunter rework. It looks incredible.
That's actually cool, I guess.
Incredibly promising so far, and there are a ton of huge...
But I will remind people, how does this sound to you, honestly? Oh, do you want to play World of Warcraft again? Now you can drift like Need for Speed, buddy. Dragon Ride. Yeah, that's not a selling point, really. It's neat, but it's not really something that people even give a fuck, honestly, about.
Class changes as well, enhancement shamans. You guys seem to be getting a lot of love. Most of the stuff that we've seen does actually look quite great. Then there's a feature we've all been expecting, which is the Warband camp screen customizations. You'll be able to unlock different ones in-game, you can assign ones to your different sets of characters. It seems pretty cool, and it does come along with Blizzard making other changes to Warbands as well. Of course, also it's Season 2, and Season 2 also gets a new dungeon for the first time in quite a while, and the raid looks incredible. Yes, as a raid, but also how they've...
This is gonna suck. As far as I know, anything that involves goblins as a dungeon or whatever, people don't actually like. It gets really annoying and really frustrating really fast.
Change things. We've got some deterministic rewards. If you remember dinars from the Shadowlands, we're actually getting that back. There's a raid-wide renown track, loads of quality of life changes, there's sped up crest drops. Blizzard have made a lot of changes to progression. And overall, I think it's Drive that especially is interesting to me. It's one of those updates that doesn't just make a patch better. What it is potential for something else. To make Drive happen, Blizzard had to make new tech, new systems. A little bit like with dragon riding, right? So for now,
no one cares.
It's going to be confined to Undermine and Goblin cars, and I really don't think we'll be able to put different hooves on our horses that will make them drift better.
Oh no, that's so bad! Oh no! You understand what this means? If this mechanic is actually really good and people like it a lot, that means when whatever this shit ends, it's not gonna be in the base game and people are gonna be mad. Oh, Blizzard just planted a ticking time bomb themselves. 10 out of 10.
But I have a feeling this technology will be used again in the future. So the likes of that and the Warband screens do actually feel like WoW is building up to the future. But speaking of the future, we've got to move on in the year. Our next date is April 8th, and that seems to be when we'll get the Nightfall patch. That's the name of WoW patch 11.1.5 and its new content. It sounds spooky. It's called Nightfall in the next expansion.
Oh boy, will the evil villain currently that has all the advantages over the good guys finally do something that she should have done like 50 fucking years ago? I'm so excited for that. There is no suspense for this. When you make a situation where you're the underdog constantly and the enemy has all the advantages, but they don't do shit with it. There's no suspense. It just feels stupid and bad.
Is called Midnight. I have a feeling they'll be connected. But we're not totally in the dark in its content because Blizzard left us with one huge clue, and that is Horrific Visions Revisited. The big question is, how will this game feature return? Could it just be some sort of straight, hey, we fixed the numbers, it's back, or will it be connected to the story? I have to imagine it will be. Will Xal'atath usher in a revival of N'Zoth? Try to repeat what he did? Will it be something worse? I mean, world content.
Oh yeah, I'm sure people are going to be excited about the old god who gets killed by a random dagger.
And with an invading void would be a perfect way to spice up the Khazalgar zones, which do feel, well, rather empty, or perhaps even the old world, and that's not even to mention, say, amping up Xal'atath as a villain with another major win under her belt, which they will absolutely want to do for the Midnight expansion.
Bro, what are they gonna do, I wonder, with this, with all of this crap, by the way? Because there's so many allied races now in World of Warcraft. There's this kind of dwarf, there's this kind of cow, there's this kind of troll. And none of them matter on average. They just kinda exist, but none of them really matter. It's so stupid.
As for Horrific Visions themselves as a piece of content, it's obviously hard to know if Blizzard means new Horrific Visions based on the design of the two we got during BFA, or if it's the exact same content but revisited with changes. But even if they did do that, the original Horrific Visions involved characters like Illyria, Turalyon, and Thrall, who are all going to be relevant in the World Soul Saga. Ultimately, I think it is good news though. Horrific Visions with some smart fixes could be, and I seriously mean this, some of the best current content in World of Warcraft. I believe that Horrific Visions, when they came out, had everything. There was awesome story context. There was customizable levels of challenge, almost like I was selecting skulls for my Halo Legendary campaign run back in the day. Great mob design, a currency grind to, of course, get in, good group scaling. It was a seriously fun thing, be it with friends or solo, and I think with distance from Battle for Azeroth's annoying bullshit, well, I actually think people are going to love them. But of course, even if people don't, well...
Look at how engaging this is. The battle has been happening for I don't know how long, and this is the first time he gets damaged. Wow. This is the Dude, this is the content I'm drooling for, okay? Sploosh, baby.
It's Blizzard's patch cadence. Patch 11.1.7 does appear to be scheduled for the 3rd of June 2025. So based on the roadmap, 11.1.7 doesn't seem to have some sort of new zone like the Siren Isle, but to be honest, I actually think that's kind of good news. And I know it seems strange, I'm saying there's not a massive amount of announced stuff. That's actually good for this patch, because we all see what's going on. The increased pace, as much as it means that I can do this video and it's full of content, well, Blizzard have made a lot of unforced errors. The Blackrock Depths raid was far too hard. It was busted difficulty when it came out. Currency balancing has been way off. There's the whole Cersei circlet drama, and content like...
The irony that Blizzard can't even fucking balance currency properly is not lost on me.
The Siren Isle not necessarily resonating with people. Let's not have any of that again, please. So maybe Blizzard will announce more features as we get closer. But
wait. I thought I saw a video about Bellier telling that Siren Isle was really good or something previously. All the quests and shit. I'm not sure, but okay.
Frankly, that they haven't committed to a whole bunch of stuff I think is actually good. Maybe they can slow down and be able to focus on the quality of their releases. That's not to say that the rumor mill doesn't exist, though. A number of in-game hints and even a little bit of data mining does have many people thinking there will be a surprise shaman tank spec added to the game, much in the same way that we got the augmentation of Voker during the Dragonflight expansion. That's obviously not confirmed. What is confirmed is new story and quests along with content and system updates. That's what they've committed to, and obviously that's pretty vague. Now after this patch, again, after 8 weeks, there will be a major patch and a new season that, because it's so far out, we really don't know anything about. Now, assuming that they do keep their schedule, patch 11.2 will be July 29th. Some people think we'll be going to the ethereal homeworld of Koresh, and what has definitely added credence to that theory is these ethereals that have been data mined in 11.1, because they don't just look like random mobs, some of them are, but they actually look like proper customizable character models. It's quite something. The other thing, of course, is the root lands and everything going on with Orwena and the Haranir. To me, either sounds
The who and the what now?
good. There could even be a way Blizzard could hit on both of those.
Also, what the hell is this? Is this like a bat troll or something?
Beats. Feature-wise, I would not expect anything as game-changing as Drive to come here, but Blizzard knows that they need to have something to keep the world content fresh. Siren Isle released to crickets. I think they know that by this stage, doing another slice of the
Oh, by the way, how bad is the lore currently in World of Warcraft? Because from what I understand now, by the way, it's like the War Within, the War Within storyline kind of happened, and stuff happened, and now it's yet another retcon. For example, what's these guys? What's the name of these guys? Oh yeah, this thing that was a Northrend, and they were the progenitors of the humans. Yeah, turns out half of them just fucking skedaddled off to this place for no apparent reason whatsoever, and now they're a new thing. It's like, dude, how many secret retcons are you gonna do? Because technically this is not a retcon. They're taking something that previously existed and added just a completely new branch of existence and lore to it. I'm so tired of this. This is the same shit that we have that, every time someone puts a shovel in the ground on Azeroth, you find an abandoned kingdom of something, because it seems like every place in Azeroth has something below it at this point. It's dumb.
Same old world content is just putting the pulp back in the juicer and expecting to get something tasty. And that being said, there are class changes to talk about. So far, we've had an absolutely humongous amount of them, but there are two notable omissions, which are the Demon Hunters and the Rogues. If you guys don't get anything in upcoming minor patches, I would expect patch 11.2 to be where you will get some love. But it's really here that our journey gets interesting. If you're expecting me to skip ahead another 8 weeks, well, tough luck, that's not going to happen. That's because August 19th is Gamescom Opening Night Live, and that event is actually the most likely candidate that we have for the Midnight expansion reveal. Obviously, we know the expansion exists, but we have not got a proper reveal. And I 100% believe that is where we will learn of, say, any of those leaked classes from the surveys, like the Tinker or the Bard, if they will appear, what the Quel'Thalas revamp will look like, how Blizzard will follow up hero talents, and maybe if Drive will make it out of Undermine. But perhaps more importantly, far more information about player housing. And for Blizzard, the impressions that are formed during the first 15 to 30 seconds of that reveal will be some of World of Warcraft's most important in years. Because the War Within was always in production, regardless of the World Soul Saga. The whole World Soul Saga plan only existed after Chris Metzen came back to the company and they revamped some of their planning and their creative direction. That does mean that the War Within fundamentally is something that was
crippled, double crippled, half black, half fucking elf protagonist. God, I love it.
birthed out of the old process.
Woman also, obviously.
It was changed a hell of a lot, but it's
that looks like a man on every day.
Midnight and Last Titan that basically are
Beautiful.
where Blizzard have had more evergreen planning given all that they have learned right now. But of course, hearing this, you might think, well, Michael, what about BlizzCon? Why would they not talk about Midnight during BlizzCon?
Because no one cares about
thing,
BlizzCon.
Right? First, we actually don't know if there will be a BlizzCon. We didn't have one last year, and that kind of sucked. Second, World of Warcraft's expansions are actually not coming out at the same pace. Blizzard announced this. They said that the whole World Soul Saga will be done before 2030. And what it basically maths out to, given all of the dates, is 18-month expansions. Blizzard actually has got to hit that to keep up pace. Now, the thing is, if expansions are coming out every 18 months, but BlizzCon happens yearly, well, that essentially guarantees that World of Warcraft expansions will be out of sync with the usual BlizzCon cycle. And that does mean that if Blizzard are looking for a really, really big date to announce something, well, it's either going to be Gamescom Opening Night Live or perhaps the Game Awards. In this case, Opening Night Live, given when Midnight is almost certainly going to come out. And as for a release date for Midnight, if Blizzard continues as is their new normal, Midnight will come out February 10th, 2026, with an early access.
I wonder what they're gonna do past this, by the way. Because you need to understand the thing. They understand it currently, but Midnight needs to be actually something special that attracts a lot of attention. Because they can't. They are losing players massively. Overwatch is being rigged by Marvel rivals. The other shit that they have is also kind of not having a good time. Diablo 4 is getting wrecked by PathFixL 2. Hearthstone is kind of irrelevant. Well, it still makes money, but it's kind of irrelevant. StarCraft 2 doesn't exist anymore. Well, it does, but you get the point. And yeah, they need this to be a hit. And I don't think this is going to be a hit, but the bare minimum, what's going to happen? Something in classic World of Warcraft is going to happen. They will release something. Because they are not going to put all of their eggs in the basket of, the War Within fucking failed like shit, boys. But you know what? We're confident that Midnight is going to be like, wow, and get people back in. No. They're going to also have some kind of releases planned in combination with, just basic. Just good old basic classic World of Warcraft. Because that can get the numbers up, At this point, most people are kind of done with Season of Discovery. The hardcore realms are the only thing that's kind of pumping currently. So there's a spot for something there. So that's the only exciting thing, honestly, that I think that's going to happen there. And yeah.
Well, is this. This icon raised a lot of eyebrows when it showed up, but then Blizzard changed it to this new icon, which is...
Yeah, you know why they changed it? Because that is the... that looks like a PDF icon. PDF icons have a lot of fucking swirly shit in them. Yeah, that's not good, Blizzard. That's not good, but very telling. Anyway, that was Billiard News 10 out of 10. Bye! I don't actually want to listen what's said here after this.